So welcome to the dedication of Talisa Apartments. My name is Maurice Ramirez. I'm the president of Domus Development. Just a quick bit about Domus Development. We're a statewide developer, and currently over the next 10 months or so, we're going to have another 5 of these projects that are going to be coming online in LA County. So I just want to put a quick plug for that. And that's a total of about 600 units of housing, affordable housing for both homeless families, homeless seniors, and homeless individuals. Before I tell you a little bit about Talisa Apartments, the fundamentals of Talisa Apartments, I just want to recognize that today we're standing on the land of the Kizh Nation. So just wanted to recognize that this week in particular, since we are celebrating or celebrated Indigenous Peoples Day this past Monday. So I wanted to make that recognition. Talisa Apartments is 49 apartments. One of them is a 2-bedroom apartment for the manager. The other 44 of the other apartments are 2 bedrooms. So it's a little bit of a unique apartment building with regards to how it was funded, which was funded through funding for homeless families and individuals, but there weren't that many family apartments that were really kind of shepherded through that process. There's a few of them, and we're happy to be one of them because the need certainly is there for families as well as individuals and seniors. So 44 apartments are 2 bedrooms, 4 apartments are 1 bedrooms. And the building, as you can see today, is sort of divided into 2 layers. This upper layer, which includes this courtyard and the rest of the apartment buildings for the residential units, and the ground floor and the ground courtyard, which houses the community services, houses our community room, it houses a computer lab. It houses also our manager's unit, kind of giving her a little bit of a respite from being in the mix of everybody. At least that was the intent. Also providing additional security for our residents, and that you have multiple eyes as to who's coming into the building and how they're accessing the property. So again, that was really kind of baked into the design, and I know I have a lot of things to give, but I'll give a preemptive thanks to the architects who really thought that out for us. So in case you haven't Googled what Talisa means, it means consecrated to God. So it's a pretty lofty goal for any building. But I do want to recognize, and I just thought it was a nice name. I didn't Google it until much afterwards, but I thought it was a nice name. But I think it's really an appropriate name because the work that was done to make this building is really God's work that everybody did. So I want to recognize everybody that worked on the project with that in mind. So, thank you so much for the work that everybody has done to realize this building that is, I think, appropriately named for the work that you've done. I want to begin my thank you remarks, and hopefully I won't screw it up, typically do, so I apologize beforehand. But I want to begin with our development team. So our development team, first of all, I need to thank LA Family Housing, not only for being a partner, but being a very active partner with us from the very beginning of the project, from the neighborhood council meetings that we went to get garnered community support, through the applications that we had to put together, through securing the funding that had to be put together for the project, and all the way to today's event. So thank you for everybody that's worked on the project from the LA Family Housing side, both in terms of the development side and the social services side. From the development side, I want to thank Elda, you're here, and Gustavo, you're here as well. So they lead the development team for LA Family Housing. On the services side, I want to thank Rachel and Gabriela. You're both here. If you can raise your hands. So, I know that I'm kind of preaching to the choir when I say that these buildings have intensive wraparound services and case management, and the need for that to happen for these buildings and to provide the support to the residents to enable them to create the community that these buildings become. So super, super important. thank you so much. Obviously, we have probably the preeminent group that does that here in Los Angeles and probably California, probably the state. So thank you for agreeing to partner with us way back when, before COVID, before the materials delay, supplies, and cost increases, and all the other things. So thank you for being our partner. So I also want to thank on the development team. I mentioned the architects, FSY Architects. So Vijay, you're here, and Arturo, who are the lead, and Var, who was the primary architect here for this project. So thank you for creating a beautiful building. I want to thank Alpha Construction. Jerry, you're here representing the team, but you can thank Alpha Construction for all the nice sharp angles and tight building materials that were used in this building and made it come together really great. So I've always said that Jerry and Alpha know how to put together a nice building, so thank you. I want to thank Nesbitt Construction. I'm not sure if Candace or Bill are here, but I want to thank them. They are our construction managers for most of the projects that we do. So they were very heavily involved in making sure that we got through the finish line, and they kept Alpha in the right track. Right, Jerry? So on the development side, we have so many different consultants, so many different partners that were part of this project that the list would be too long to mention all of them. I do want to acknowledge the person who actually sold us this property, Ben Cohen. So he was a very patient man. Hopefully he still is. As you know, sometimes these acquisitions are a little bit of a roller coaster. So thank you for sticking it through with us, and thank you for being here for the dedication. So I would like to now recognize and give thanks to the folks, agencies that were part of the financing structure that made this building happen. So first of all, I'd like to thank the Tax Credit Allocation Program, the CIDLAC, the Bond Allocation Program. So TCAC and CIDLAC, thank you so much for the funding. That's really more than the cornerstone for these projects to get done. They're under the State Secretary, Department of the Secretary Treasurer, sorry. So thank you for being here and representing that. I want to thank the Los Angeles County Development Authority. And with that, I also comes the thank you to the Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health, which provided the funding to LACTA to provide the resources to have this built and to make it possible to reach the population that we are reaching. So I know that Dr. Wong, I think you were going to be here today. Okay, wherever you are, thank you. I want to thank the Los Angeles Housing Department, Proposition HHH, which was also foster our ability to close the acquisition of this project by making that commitment very early on the project. I want to thank the Housing Authority of the City of Los Angeles that provides the operating subsidies for these our apartments here. And City Capital, City Community Capital, I knew I would mess that up. So City Community Capital, who are both our construction lender and our permanent lender. Alliant, who is our tax credit syndicator. And I did this probably out of order because I should have probably thanked our acquisition lender, which was Corporation for Supportive Housing, and they used the New Generation Fund program. So they were able to lend to us on the very early stages to take down the property. Finally, I would like to thank our political leaders, because without their support, without their vision, without demanding that housing be a priority for our communities and their communities, obviously, these developments would just not happen. So I know that a couple of those folks are going to come up and speak. So I will let them be introduced by Stephanie, and with that, I'll I'll conclude my remarks by actually introducing Stephanie Glasser-Gamer, who is the CEO and president of LA Family Housing and runs a tremendous show.
Thank you, Maurice. Good morning, everybody. This is a great position to be in. You all look fabulous. Anyway, it's a great morning to be here. As Maurice said, I'm Stephanie Glasser-Gamer. I'm proud to be the president and CEO of LA Family Housing with this full team here. I love seeing LA Family Housing in full force. We're thrilled to be here today to celebrate the grand opening of this beautiful new permanent supportive housing. We need more days like this. We need celebrations of moving forward and helping our most vulnerable people. And I just want to acknowledge the enormous pain happening across the world that impacts all of us as we witness so many people suffering right now. And while we all respond and feel and grieve in different ways, being together today to bring positive change in the world and to the lives of our tenants here at Talisa feels very powerful. And so I thank you for being here. This is to you. Maurice, I really appreciate you beginning our morning with a land acknowledgement. I think recognizing and honoring our past is an important first step in laying the groundwork to better serve our communities in the future. And that's exactly what permanent supportive housing like Talisa Apartment does. This building serves our community now and into the future. As you've heard already, Talisa provides permanent homes with wraparound supportive services to families transitioning out of homelessness. This model, which LA Family Housing is very proud to provide, this model called permanent supportive housing is effective at ending homelessness because it combines the stability of a permanent home with services that help people remain stable and successful, such as case management, mental and physical health care, trauma recovery, employment resources. All of this is available to our tenants to access while they live in their own home. Despite this model's successful track record, there are actually very few permanent supportive homes available to families across Los Angeles. In fact, Talisa is one of the first PSH developments designed specifically for families here in the San Fernando Valley. This isn't for lack of need. In recent years, we have sadly seen more families come through our doors seeking housing and support than our own agency has been able to provide. The building that you see around you was designed intentionally to meet the family's needs, providing a nurturing, tranquil environment for families as they transition out of homelessness. It features amenities that foster community and relationship building, such as a playground. I thought we had to make our remarks from the climbing apparatus there. Such as the playground, community gardens, and a barbecue area. We look forward to seeing the children and their parents enjoying these spaces for many years to come. It's a privilege to work alongside our elected officials, and I'm so glad you're here today, as well as our funders and community partners who understand the power of permanent supportive housing to transform communities and lives. Your partnership and support that led to today's grand opening has equipped 48 families with a new home and a foundation for connection, routine, comfort, stability, and support. I want to thank LA Family Housing's Board of Directors for their dedication and ongoing support of our real estate and supportive services work. And I'd also like to thank our co-developer, Domus Development, Maurice. Proud staff is the best. We are honored to work alongside you. And now it's my pleasure to welcome a champion, an advocate, and friend, County Supervisor Lindsay Horvath.
Good morning, everyone. It is indeed a pleasure to be here this morning. And I know that this has been a long time in the making, and perhaps given that it is named Talisa, it was divine intervention that had us open on this exact occasion at this moment in time, when we are feeling such pain and heartbreak, when it feels like there's so much division in our community. To have a wonderful, positive, uplifting celebration like this morning couldn't be better timed. So I am just so thrilled to be here this morning to celebrate the opening of these apartments, these homes that will be spaces for 40 new families, 40 families, young children who deserve to have a safe environment where they can not just survive in Los Angeles, but succeed and thrive. And I really want to thank Stephanie and her entire team at LA Family Housing for all of your unwavering commitment to building permanent supportive housing in our county, this time here in Panorama City. It's an honor to have LA Family Housing in our district, tireless advocates for PSH development, who also understand what it takes to walk side by side with our newly housed residents to help them transition indoors. It's not enough to give somebody a set of keys. You have to give them the support and sustained uplifting that it takes to help people survive and thrive. And I also want to thank Councilwoman Padilla for being here. I look forward to working together collaboratively across city and county. I've heard far too much in these initial months of my term in office about the division that existed between the city and county, but no more. We are very grateful for your partnership and collaboration in your office. As I said, I am incredibly moved to be here celebrating over 40 families and households coming inside. And as we move forward in addressing the humanitarian crisis, it's especially appalling to think of even one child having to spend even one night unhoused on our streets. Talisa Apartments will be a home for over 40 families who will no longer have to seek safety, places to prepare food, to shower, to access consistent medical care and education, and community. They'll live right here. Households will get their key and walk through their own door at Talisa Apartments and take a deep breath as they create their home and take steps to rebuild their lives. We welcome all of the residents to Talisa Apartments. We welcome you home. The work of addressing homelessness does continue, and as we seek to provide the key to apartments for every person sleeping on our streets, you can count on me to be tireless in my advocacy to ensure that every unhoused person gets the housing and services that they need and deserve. That's why I appointed myself to the LAHSA Commission. I now serve as chair of LAHSA, and we're working to make sure that that's a congratulations, not a condolences, because we do know that the work of LAHSA is challenging. And just yesterday, the mayor joined us in this effort, and one of my colleagues on the board will also be joining us at our next meeting, appointing herself. So we are transforming the leadership at LAHSA to ensure that there are not delays, to ensure that the services, support, and resources people deserve are actually meeting people where they are in their own communities. I am all in for the fight to make sure people get the housing and services they deserve. I'll continue to reach out to our partners at every level of government. I also see representative from our state Senate office and in our community-based organizations, in philanthropy, our community stakeholders, because it takes all of us to make this happen. I often get invited to give remarks at events like this, but it is so many of you who are doing the work day in and day out, and I thank you endlessly for the work that you're doing, because it is not easy. It's wonderful to show up and be able to cut a ribbon, but the day in, day out work is really challenging. So thank you for staying in it, and thank you for taking care of yourselves as you provide that help and support, because we know that you need to continue to take care of yourselves in order to care for others. I know together we can do this work, and we won't stop. We can't stop. They're counting on us, and we are in this together. I am so grateful to be here today. Thank you so much for including me in this celebration. And it's now my honor to welcome up the council member from the 6th District of Los Angeles, Councilmember Imelda Padilla.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Buenos dias. I am incredibly excited to be here. I actually spent my morning today talking to high school students, and they did an interview of me, and I gave them the opportunity to ask me questions. And our future leaders, this is all they want to talk about. What is going on? What is going to happen to address the homeless crisis that is going on in our great city? So coming to this, following that, is refreshing. It's refreshing and it excites me because the main answer that I gave them was, it's about partnerships. It's about having a mayor who is very intentional. It's about cutting those lines and the lack of communication, as mentioned by our county supervisor, between the city and the county. And this development absolutely showcases that there is no one solution or one individual or one group that's gonna take it on, but it's the partnerships. So thank you so much for inviting me. As many of you know, I don't live very far from here. I was once upon a time a field deputy for this region. So when the lot was purchased and this was being built, I had no idea that it was LA Family Housing, but as I saw it come up, I was very excited to say, those are some very nice apartments. I can't wait to see them filled. And now that I'm here, I am ecstatic. So I wanted, these 48 units, as mentioned already, will allow families to transition and have a more hopeful, more positive environment and a much brighter future. With the resources provided here, not only will they be able to survive, but to thrive. And as I mentioned with the partnerships, I want to give a special thank you to Stephanie. Stephanie, a classy gamer, right? The partners over at the county, and of course, Supervisor Lindsay Horvath, Mayor Bass. And I don't want to take too much credit because I actually just got here, right? I've only been in council for 3 months, but I am also doing my best to be as intentional as possible at being a partner. So I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out and credit to my homeless director, Rebecca Garola, who's sitting here in the front. And, and I didn't think it was enough to just have one person dedicated to this. So it's her, and she also has a deputy who I'm surprised isn't here, but he's not here because he's on the field identifying some of our unhoused individuals and making sure that we can, figure out what their story is so that we can connect them into and with organizations like LA Family Housing, because it's about being out there all the time. So thank you again for being here. Thank you all for the work that you do, and continue to count on me and work with me and my team. We are excited to be intentional and to partner where needed and find resources at all levels of government. I also want to thank our congressional office that is here. I see some representatives from Tony Cardenas's office. Thank you for being here, as well as Assemblymember Luz Rivas' team for being here. It's going to take all of us. And the 6th District is one of those regions where we have a lot of potential, a lot of land opportunities. And then let's also talk about how we're on Van Nuys Boulevard, right? This is going to be a place where a lot of infrastructure dollars come with the Metro East Valley Rail. So I'm excited that that's also going to be part of the resources for these families to be able to take advantage of and be connected to all of Los Angeles. So we're going to partner, we're going to build the housing, we're building the public transit, we're going to work on some green spaces that we really got to bring to the 6th District. But partnership, the spirit of partnership is real here, and please continue to count on us. And I wanted to also bring Stephanie up. And on behalf of the city of Los Angeles, to get the decorative party started in your building, I want to present this to you on behalf of the city of LA, Talisa Apartments. Let all your families know that the city of Los Angeles is here to congratulate them, to know that they're part of the community, and that this is now home. So thank you. And I will now like to introduce Azeen Kanmalik. Did I say it right? All right. From the Office of Mayor Karen Bass. Welcome.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Azeen Kanmalik, and I'm the Director of Affordable Housing Production at Mayor Bass's office. I'm not nearly as esteemed a guest as our previous speakers, so I'll keep my comments short. First, I'd like to offer my congratulations to LA Family Housing and Domus for this wonderful achievement. I'm excited to be here to celebrate the opening of another HHH-funded permanent supportive housing project. But more than congratulations, I'd really like to thank you both for your partnership on this ongoing theme of partnership here this morning. It's partners like you that help make this work of ending homelessness a success. Both Domus and LAFH are partners on multiple other projects funded by Measure HHH, through which we have now delivered 58 projects with over 3,500 units, with about another 3,000 units in construction all over the city as we speak. Housing and homelessness is right at the top of Mayor Bass's agenda. That's why she launched the Inside Safe program, through which, in partnership with our city council, we have now brought over 1,600 people safely inside. And that's why she issued Executive Directive 1, through which we have shaved an average of 6 months off of the planning process for affordable and supportive housing projects. And again, it is partners like you, LAFH and Domus Development, that use these tools that we were able to bring to fruition to actually deliver and develop new projects like this that take people off the streets and into homes and permanently end their experience of homelessness. So on behalf of the mayor, again, I'd like to thank all of our partners here, Councilmember Padilla, Supervisor Horvath, all of our partners from the federal government and the state. And again, congratulations and thank you for your tireless efforts in ending homelessness in the city of Los Angeles. And so with that, I would like to introduce Patrick Henneth, from the Chief Deputy Director from the State Treasurer's Office, whom I would sincerely like to thank for all of the bonds and tax credits that are awarded to City of LA projects.
Thank you. I'm doing it all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for having me here, and the treasurer sends her regards, but she wanted to make sure that I came to help celebrate. It was mentioned earlier, sometimes we don't stop and take a chance to breathe and look at what you all have been able to accomplish here. This is exactly what the leaders up in Sacramento, and I'm sure your assembly folks and your senator would say exactly the same. These are the projects that we want to see. It's, Maurice mentioned it earlier, it's the layered funding. That's how this comes to be. It's my office from CTAC and CIDLAC helping out with tax credits and bond funding. It's the city coming up with bond funding. It's others making sure that we can purchase this land. It's celebrating where we came from and who we are. It's this community that's so important. Stephanie mentioned how important that is. But this type of project is best done, and I'm sure you would completely agree with me, when we have folks like Supervisor Horvath, when we have the City Council standing here, being a partner, helping us get these types of projects done. Hopefully you see our participation, Treasurer Fiona Ma's participation in this, showing you that we can get a whole lot done, and we can get a whole lot done more. We spent over $6 billion from the state in LA County alone over the past 4 years. But I guarantee you, if I asked any of you, is there more that's needed, you would tell me 100%. Not only double, but probably triple. And I encourage you to talk to your representatives, Ms. Hofarth, our city councilman, Ms. Padilla. Please continue to push and make sure that we make housing a continued priority. The treasurer stands with you in ensuring that this stuff gets built. I also have the distinct honor of introducing a friend, and probably one of the most important people here. And even though we connected as military brats, Diana, why don't you come up here and talk a little bit about your experiences as a resident here. Thank you all.
All right, let me adjust this. All right, hey guys. Thank you so much for being here on this special day. It's a privilege and an honor just to be able to celebrate with you guys the grand opening of my family's new home. My name is Diana, as you guys know, and I came here with my two sons, Justice and Jackson Harvell, and it's been such a journey. I actually can't believe I'm here. A few years ago, I was attending a program down the street, and I saw this lot, and I kept thinking, what an eyesore. What are they going to do with that, you know, when I would walk down the street? And then lo and behold, a few years later, I'm standing here. So it's just an amazing thing. Maurice said, consecrated to God. Just hearing that, I am a Christian, so just hearing that was just like everything fell into place as it was supposed to. And it was intentional, nothing was missed. Everybody who was in this building, everybody who was a part of building this building, it was all as it was supposed to be, so it was beautiful. The first thing I have to say is when I think about where I'm at right now, I have to remember where I've been. And it's really been a journey for me. My homelessness actually started years ago. The first time I was homeless, I was actually 18, and that was back in New Jersey. I'm originally from the East Coast. And it's always been a struggle. It's always been a struggle to stand up. It's always been a struggle to be on my feet. So I've really suffered from permanent homelessness since 2014. I didn't know what I was going to do with my kids. I was bouncing around from shelter to shelter. I was dealing with different domestic violence issues, and it just seemed like this cycle. I couldn't get out of this cycle. At one point, my children were taken from me, and this took me down this road of hopelessness. I was scared, I was lost, and I didn't think I would ever be able to get back on my feet. So this is actually what brought me to California. I ended up going to a shelter with the Union Rescue Mission called Hope Gardens. Maybe some of you are familiar. And even there, I was scared because every day I'm going, what do I do next? I don't know from day to day what's going to happen. And the state of New Jersey asked me if I wanted custody of my kids back, so I started working on that process, and that hope started to be restored. After we moved into this women and children's shelter, this was kind of the motivation I needed to start changing my life. I started to feel like, okay, maybe I can do it. I'm starting to get some supports. But I knew I needed to have a permanent home for my family. That was the goal. Both of my children are actually on the spectrum, and so part of my issue was the fact that having a job and holding a job was very difficult, especially when they were little. They're now 11 and 12, so it's a little bit easier. And being able to come out here and be introduced to Talisa was an amazing thing that started actually with my case manager, Cliff. I got connected with LA Family Housing through my mental health. And he reached out to me and he said, you know, we have a brand new building being built, and would you like to come out and be a part of this? And I was like, yes. So we pretty much waited from month to month. That was a stretch. That was a struggle, you know, not knowing when was going to be my day. Like, you know, I used to be like, God, I'm watching everybody else get their housing and I'm doing everything that I can. What more can I do? But Cliff stayed with me the whole time, gave me hope, gave me faith. And then one day he called me and was like, hey, can you come in and sign your lease? And I'm like, thank you, God. So I got down here, signed my lease, and I got my keys. And when Kelly and Cliff gave me the tour and I walked through the doors with my children, it was the most unreal feeling I've had in my life. And I promised myself I wouldn't cry, but this is near and dear to my heart. It's to see my children so happy and them going, Mom, is this where we're going to be staying for a while? And I'm like, no, this is our new home. This is where we live. This is permanent for us. And just to see them be able to walk in and have their furniture there, and we had a couch and table, and just to see that we could start with something was just a blessing and just an encouragement for us. And finally, instead of worrying about the future and where we were going to sleep next and how we were going to make ends meet next, I actually get to think about what's the next chapter for us. And I'm able to say that my kids, with the help of LA Family Housing and my case manager and the staff here, I've been able to get them into a good school system. I've been able to address mental health. I've been able to address any services that we need as far as transportation, things of that nature. So now that I have those things and set before me, I'm able to focus on my school. I am in school, actually for communications and political science. So I'm looking forward to finishing that. Thank you very much. Thank you. So I'm looking forward. So I'm looking for a job now that my kids are settled in school and I can finally focus on me again and what's next. And the future is bright. The future, I have hope, and the sky is the limit. And I want to thank each of you guys personally for that. I had no clue until today what it took to make this happen. But you guys brought me home, and so thank you very much.
The future is bright. Before I invite all of our elected officials, partners, representatives of elected offices up to cut the ribbon, I think Maurice forgot one page of his remarks.
I told you I would screw it up, so at least I get to do a do-over. Of course, I missed thanking the folks from my team. So I want to thank everybody at Domus Development that helped with this project, and including folks that are no longer with our team, but were here when we first purchased the property. Alex Ong, he's now with LACTA, but really appreciated your work here. Monique Hastings back there, who handles all our closing, sort of our finance extraordinaire. Tony, who is our general counsel, both kind of trying to be nondescript back there, but I wanted to recognize them. Taylor Needham, who helps with everything. So thank you, Taylor. Trevor, I know that you're here as well because you drove me. So thank you so much. And Helen, who is one of our new folks to the team, thank you for being here today. And I would also be remiss twice again if I didn't thank our management company. So obviously they have worked with us from the beginning, working budgets in terms of how this building would operate, have worked with us through the leasing, and I'm crying from your story. So Shira, thank you so much. You know, I would get on these calls, and there were all these people involved in terms of trying to sort through how referrals were going to be made, and it was way over my head. And I would call Shira afterwards and say, "You got it, right?" And she goes, "Yeah, I got it." So thank you. And then Kelly, she's been mentioned a couple times, our property manager from Domus Management. So as you can see, she's already developed a great rapport with our tenants, and thank you so much for that. So I think I kind of fixed my screw up.
Can we cut? 1, 2, 3. Woo!